Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today, we're going to dive into something really simple, but powerful. It's a single sentence that, if you really let it sink in, could completely change how you look at, well, everything.
You've probably thought about this, right? I mean, it's super easy to look around and think some people just hit the jackpot. They got handed the good life. While other people, well, they seem to get a raw deal from day one. But is that really it? Is it all just a cosmic coin toss?
Okay, so this is it. This is a sentence at the heart of everything we're talking about today. It's a bold statement, for sure. It completely pushes back on that whole lottery of life idea. So what we're going to do is break it down piece by piece and really unpack the philosophy packed inside.
All right, so first up, let's just tackle this major misconception head-on. This idea that life shows up at our doorstep pre-packaged as either good or bad.
The first part of this quote is really interesting because it kind of calls out our own assumptions. It basically says nobody gets handed a perfect life on a silver platter. That life filled with happiness and success you might see somewhere else, that wasn't a gift someone received. It's not something you're just given.
And then you've got the flip side, which is honestly just as important. This is the part that's all about hope. It argues that a bad life, one that feels defined by struggle and setbacks, isn't some life sentence you're forced to serve. It's not a script you have to follow. It just completely shatters the idea that you're doomed by your circumstances.
Okay, so if life doesn't come pre-labeled good or bad, then what do we get? That's the big question, right? And that brings us to the next part of this whole idea, which is all about the starting point.
And the answer is surprisingly simple. We're just given a life, full stop. I want you to really picture this. Think of it like raw material. It's a blank canvas or a block of uncarved marble. The idea here is that life itself is the gift, and it arrives in this totally neutral state. No good or bad label attached. It's just pure, raw potential.
So okay, you've got this raw material, this blank canvas. How do you turn it into a masterpiece? Well, the answer comes down to one critical concept: personal agency. This is our superpower, really. It's our ability to choose, to act, to make our own decisions. It's the tool we use to start shaping that raw material we were all given.
And this, right here, this is where everything changes. This is the moment we go from being a passive passenger in our lives to being the actual driver. It's the turning point.
Just look at these 5 words. Let them sink in for a second. It is all up to us. Man, that's heavy, right? But it's also incredibly freeing. This is a massive declaration of power. It pulls the spotlight away from all the external stuff we can't control and puts it right back on us.
So if that's true, if it really is all up to us, then what does that mean? It means the quality of your life isn't something you find, it's something you build. It's a constant act of creation, something you're doing every single day with your choices, your reactions, and your mindset.
Okay, so let's get practical. What does making your life good or bad actually look like day to day? It really boils down to 2 different paths, 2 sets of choices. On one hand, you make it good by consciously focusing on growth, on finding meaning in things, and taking real responsibility for your part. On the other hand, you can just as easily make it bad by getting stuck focusing on blame, by letting setbacks define you, or by just staying passive and waiting for life to happen to you. The key is, these aren't outcomes. They are active processes. They're choices you make.
All right, so let's start to wrap this up. When you put all these pieces together, the message becomes crystal clear. The whole conversation shifts from what did I get to what am I going to do with what I have. So let's just look at this quote one last time. With everything we've talked about in mind, we started out thinking of life as a lottery, right? But we broke that down and saw that life is actually a neutral gift. And from there, we realized the truth, that we are the artists, the creators. We've gone on this journey from being a passive recipient to being an active creator.
And that right there is really the whole point. This whole idea, it doesn't give you an easy answer. Instead, it leaves you with a really, really powerful question. The raw material is in your hands. So the only question that really matters is this one: what will you make of it?